Yeah! Hadn't done that in a while. Hadn't done that in a while. In a long while. Those who've been watching for a while know I used to start pretty much every show with the yeah! So I thought I'd bring it back. Pretty psyched for today's show. You guys know, I hope you're ready for another fantastic fucking episode with Chris G. MEZZADURUS. We are up to 1980 fucking 86. What a year for underground metal, especially. If you're here, you probably know that. But you don't know what Chris's playlist is. And only one that knows is Chris and myself. And it's a fucking ripper, of course, as they all are. Pretty varied playlist. So I'm not going to spend too much time here before I bring them out. Just want to make a couple announcements. There will be a show this Thursday. I need to confirm, but Tino Satanic Goat Ritual we had to reschedule a couple weeks ago, and I think we're going to do it this Thursday. So Tino Satanic Goat Ritual playlist this Thursday. So got that coming up. And I'm not sure if JD might be doing something on the channel tomorrow. So check out for that. Look for any kind of event or link or whatever. So again, psyched about today's show. It's going to be badass. It's going to be ripping. Need to see the chat active, you guys. The JOABA chat is always active and fun and all that shit. So let's keep it that way and leave your comments and have fun and all that crap, man. So, all right. So that was Bloodstorm with Earthstorm Exorcism, obviously, from the album The Stellar Exorcism. So you need to go get everything and anything or anything, everything Bloodstorm. Cool? Okay? Yes? All right. So enough of me yapping. Let's bring the man of the hour or the 2 hours or maybe 3 hours. Who fucking knows? But Mr. Chris G. MEZZADURUS.
Hello, fellow tyrants. Hi.
Tyrant.
86, everybody.
Tyrants.
86.
The tyrants are ready. The tyrants are
Good.
fucking ready for you.
All right.
So, all right. So I'm going to see myself out, guys. But I'll be behind the curtain making, putting the jams up here. So
here we go.
Let's have a great show.
Welcome, everybody, far and wide. I appreciate you coming back again and taking this 1980s journey. This is 1986, and another tough year to pick only 15, but I had to do what I had to do. So, can you sons of bitches see the light? Well, anyway, no surprise to most people, 1986 is definitely another rip-roaring year. I mean, because 84, we've seen everything come to rise, come to head. All our favorite bands that have actually really cornerstoned and shaped the way for underground metal. You have Slayer, Voivod, Celtic Frost. They're all coming out. Everybody's coming out now. And 85, some of the bands had their debut albums. Some had their sophomore albums come out. So 86, man, I mean, I think for some bands that were making headway in 83 and 84, probably most of them came to the top of their prime, I think, in 1986, in my view and in my ears, the way I heard things. Some of them did. They escalated. 86 was actually, I think, the pinnacle for some of their careers of the bands that we know and love in Black Death, thrash, speed, heavy metal music that we love. And once again, this year is still very exciting and vibrant for myself in my neighborhood of Kensington that I keep talking about over and over again. My stomping grounds, me and my friends putting our rubber soles to the streets out there in Philadelphia and Kensington with our jam boxes and just make an adventure, right? So I, once again, thank you all for showing up on this adventure for 1986, ladies and gentlemen. 1986. It's just there were some really pivotal things that happened too that kind of I think go inside with the extremity music, like some events that happened in the world. I think kind of shaped um, some musical attitude, be it either a pro or a con. It definitely I think made other branches in '86. For one, I think, and I'm not a fan of this genre, but all of a sudden now you're having hip hop bands making full length albums. You know, fucking Aerosmith has Run DMC do Walk This Way. I, I'm sorry, folks. I mean, I love a lot of music, but in 1986, being 15, I didn't want to hear rapping anything that had anything to do with rock or heavy metal. I didn't want to hear none of that. I didn't hear it because, as some people consider disco the enemy, I considered rap the enemy in the 80s because the social demographic in my neighborhood started to separate a lot of us that grew up as friends. It's changing things. The field is definitely changing. A lot of attitudes and where our places in life may be lying in our teenage years. Because I was 15. I'm a sophomore in high school now. This is the year I was probably the most condemned for being, a lover and being passionate about heavy metal music. It was my last year in Catholic high school, and it was absolute torment. But what happened? I mean, in April of '86, we had the Chernobyl accident. The 2 reactors that went off, and I think it would be in Ukraine if I remember right. That went off, and that created a big thing. And it was like, whoa. I mean, as a teenager in that years, it was like, is this the start of a nuclear war? I mean, the reactors went off, but the idea of that, that big explosion, it was like it was a panic. I can remember, in my neighborhood household and just hearing through the streets, there was a little bit of a sort of a panic, a bit, not like everybody was rioting, but there was a more fear and scaredness going on in the air of, nuclear power and what it's doing and what had happened. And then we had the space shuttle Challenger disaster that happened. And I remember being in class watching it when the first teacher went up in space. McAuliffe was her name. I forget her first name, but she was from New Hampshire, I think. The teacher that went up into space and the shuttle blew up. I remember watching that in school, and it rattled everybody's cage. It's like, here you think, oh, America with NASA. I mean, how can we be so flawless? But it goes to show your mortality, And actually, this was also the year that Ronnie James Dio and the Ronnie James Dio band put together Hearing Aid and had over 40 different heavy metal musicians, and that was to fund to help famine in Africa, if you remember that. So it's like all these kind of strange, you know what I mean? Really, really potent, tragic things that happened in the world events. And then you had things that were supposed to be positive. I probably, in light of the bad rap heavy metal music was getting in America in '86, from what I can remember. So Dio's heart was in the right place, and I love Ronnie James Dio. I never owned the record. I didn't care to. I just thought it was neat that it happened, But like I'm saying, I'm going to get back onto the bands that I'm paying attention to full on now, because some of these albums now, some of these bands are on their third and their second albums, and we really see the height of what they can do in this year. And there's new bands on the playing field that hit my ears in this year too, as well, that just have to get acknowledgement. I go through my papers over and over with this music, and it's so hard just to pick 15, but I hope you people enjoy. So we're going to start right now. This band I picked to start the show off. Okay, we already know Metallica had Master of Puppets, their third album. They went on tour with Ozzy Osbourne that year, and they fucking blew his doors off on that tour. And we know that. Metallica was suddenly now superstars. They were the thrash metal superstars, kind of. That's how we thought of them growing up, And then Megadeth has Peace Sells But Who's Buying, which was another huge, monumental thrash album that had, there were so many people. I remember having a back patch of Peace Sells But Who's Buying. I can remember seeing that on some of the jackets going through the neighborhoods. So that album was huge to boot. And then, Judas Priest had Turbo. I wasn't a big fan of that album because, to me, Judas Priest were getting that American glam thing. So I was starting to lose interest in Judas Priest by then. And when I heard that, I was like, that's not like Stained Glass or Point of Entry or British Steel. You know, it's not the albums that I want to hear no more. So Priest was falling away. Saxon, I don't think had anything going on, but a tour that failed. So, you know, Accept had Russian Roulette, which wasn't a bad album. But again, you know, everything that was already coming out now in the underground and being really aggressive. And that just the real essence of the evil and raw power energy, you know, the high volume energy and that raw, powerful aggression. The underground music was lifting up more. And more crossover bands started to come out too as well this year that I've seen. But from a big four, Metallica and Megadeth, okay, the third album that came out that year is absolutely no surprise. And I think it's probably, I can remember this album being #1 for about a decade in some of these magazine polls. But this album, it was the absolute, it was the top of their pyramid, and they were on top of their game, flawless from start to finish. The greatest album, I thought, that was under 30 minutes long, that just ripped from beginning to absolute end. And I think they had a hard time topping this album. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, the third album that we absorbed, we drank its blood. This is Slayer, Rain and Blood. This is Angel of Death. there's no denying that that album is probably the one of the most key important albums in underground heavy metal history still to this day. That's just one of those albums that will always be here when we are gone. And it just goes to show you just how far and extreme the limits of death, thrash metal, speed metal, black metal can go in the early time of 1986. I mean, we were starting to see it in 84 and 83, but like I said, I think 86 probably hit the most heights for most of these bands, in my opinion. And that album really set a new standard. And there's just no denying it, because after that year, you can definitely tell a lot of bands had to really put their marker up against Rain and Blood, and rightfully so. That is a flawless album, start to finish. And Henneman and King were at their absolute prime. Dave, Tom's voice, it's just to me, it's like how Venom was. There, you have the right guys at the right time doing the right thing. And you know, even more so, the lyrical content of that album. But it's just, I love the fact that it went into areas that people wouldn't. They're talking about Joseph Mengele, the angel of death, the Nazi doctor, I mean, no need to go into all the details, but we know. So in ways, it fascinated me that thrash metal, aggressive heavy metal artists were taking things, yes, the satanic and the dark imagery and the fantasy thing, but the horrific events of human history, which always fascinate me just as much, because I think Celtic Frost do it the best. See, I said Celtic and Celtic. I put both in there. But, I'm fascinated by it. And I think most people are, because it is our human history. And I kind of do revel in human downfall, because there's so many things to be learned at it. And when you can put it into an art form of making a painting, a book, or in music, it's the one thing that resonates with me on my level of thinking and how my attitude is with life in the world. So Slayer's Rain and Blood, Hell Awaits, and Show No Mercy. And I only wished Haunting the Chapel was a full-length album, but yeah, it was a whole new standard by the time they did Rain and Blood. And I personally think they had a hard time doing something at that level of greatness that just happened to be. Which I think some of these bands, it happened. They got to a point and they weren't sure where they can take themselves at a certain point. Because I don't think most of these bands expected to go past 2 or even 3 albums. Maybe. That's just my opinion. But because everything was just bam, 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 go, go, go. But it rose so much more out of the underground in all corners of the world. And it became such a rich treasure trove of bands and music. I mean, influences left and right were coming out of itself, and even out of song titles too. And this next band I'm going to pick is out of North Jersey, and it's a 3-piece band. They're known for being like a death thrash, a speed death thrash. That's how we categorized them back in the day. And great enough about this band, I always found it awesome in thrash metal, death metal, speed metal back in the 80s, when there was you had a guitar player in the band. He was like a wizard with that instrument, and just when they did lead work, it made the song 10 times better. And this band with this man playing guitar, when he did his leads over his songs, I personally, he's one of my influences as a guitar player. No doubt about it. I was always amazed at his lead work for the albums that they did. I hold him in high regard as a guitarist. I'm influenced by him. I only wish I was as talented as he was, but he's brilliant. I call him the thrash metal guitar wizard of the underground music of the 80s. And also the drummer temporarily replaced Dave Lombardo when he was out of the band for a little bit. I think most of you probably around my age can remember when Lombardo was out for a bit, another man named Tony Scaglione stepped in, and he had the ability to play all those Slayer songs just as awesome. And this 3-piece band out of North Jersey come a new one to the scene in 1986. They were all named Tony, Tony, and Tony, and named after a great Metallica song on Kill 'Em All. And I picked this song off the album because I want to emphasize the lead work. When the lead work kicks into this song over top of the rhythm and drums, the hairs on my arms stand up. And I feel a tingle in my brain and in my spine. I just am enriched to create, to pick up that guitar and play. This song really is my favorite one on the album because of the lead work. So, the debut album of this band, this is Whiplash off of Power and Pain, Red Bomb. Well, fellow tyrants, I just think Tony Patero is a guitar wizard. When hearing that album, I sincerely was like, this man is a whole new level of thrash metal lead guitar playing. I mean, it was speed death thrash. That's what me and all my friends considered Whiplash, was speed death thrash. That whole album, start to finish, to me, is flawless. But that song in particular, the lead work, was just phenomenal. Phenomenal to hear that. Very inspirational. And 86, I really think the maturity demographic, how people were bringing extreme levels of themselves through their art form and their fingers and hands and their minds and hearts, their playing ability, and the new level red of excitement that was coming out of these sophomore albums, or the third album, if you will, or the new ones that were coming out in light of what they were experiencing. I mean, and we were growing with this, my friends and I, and school was, the environment was growing rich too. And like everything else I've ever said in the show, you're taking tapes and left and right to your friend in school on the bus. Check this out, check that out. You're on your Walkman, and all day in school, you ain't thinking of fucking doing your work. You're thinking of that song you heard riding the bus in the morning, and you can't wait to hear the side B on the way home. That's the way it was. So I used to torture my friend Janine and her friend Angela and Eva and Yvonne. They were the four heavy metal rock and roll girls. I used to ride the 66 bus on the back. I told you all about them before, but I used to always take my tapes back there and, hey, check this out, girls, even though they were in the like Dokken and Bon Jovi and Scorpions and all that, they still appreciated some of that too. They thought it was interesting. So anyway, another thing that I think is great in 86, now I'm 15. Okay. And growing up, and the population in the neighborhood seemed to be kind of rich, with a lot of people out and about doing their own thing now. And maybe it's because my age caught up and everybody else's age caught up. But, I started to see, not just in art and music and movies, and that family demographic is growing and changing, and the neighborhood attitude is changing. We started to actually congregate. There was four playgrounds in my neighborhood that everybody kind of congregated to from my neck of the woods in Kensington. It was Lighthouse Field on Front and Erie Avenue. And then there was Elkins Park, which was on between D Street and E Street off of Allegheny. And then there was McVeigh, which is 1 block away from my house behind the Robert Bruce Railroad factory. There was that playground. That's where I hung the most. And then further out, where Agoraphobia ever played their first show outside at a swimming pool, was Scale Playground. And that was around H and Tioga Street. So there was groups of people now hanging in these, playgrounds, and it kind of like, now you had a hangout area. And not too many people ventured off into one another's playground unless you were kind of bought into. It's kind of a thing. It's like, hey, you can come into my neck of the woods if you know so-and-so. I'm sure there's a lot of people that had to experience those kind of things in the cities, wherever you may be. But we were experiencing that. And there was getting this sort of like, well, if you're not on this block, we don't want you here kind of thing. So a lot of things were so street level now. And, you're getting into fistfights more and more over dumb shit, like most people do, because you're a teen and you got nothing but, your Joneses are growing, you're getting more your manhood and everything else. You're getting pumped up and everything else. And, just that's the attitude. It's aggressive. Kensington became aggressive. And like I said, I adapted the music into the aggressive lifestyle that was going on in my neighborhood, and thinking of images of myself in this way to be into the future, to make the same music that I love. So the 86 journey was just as critical. It was actually, I think it was maturing me more and looking at things more. How deep and extreme can I go? And how far do these branches now spread out with these bands I love? So now I'm seeing crossover bands come out more. Now we're seeing Nuclear Assault come on with Game Over, which everybody loved. Sorry, I didn't pick that one on my list. I wanted them, but I had to, flip the coin on a lot of things. So, but that was huge. Game Over was a huge thing. And then you had, Corrosion Conformity. You had Eye for an Eye came out, and that was big. Everybody had that orange and white sticker on their lockers. School bags and radios. The Spike, nuclear fallout skeleton with the just like Exploited. That was a hallmark sticker to have on your boombox as well. And then you have GBH with Midnight Madness and Beyond, which that's a great album too. And Exploited had the Dead EP, which was also known as Jesus is Dead. A Drug Squad Band was my favorite song off of that album. And then you had Cro-Mags. Age of Quarrel was a huge album. It was a crossover album that usually my brother and his friends really loved. And that was like a really street level, dirt on the knees, blood under the fingernails, fight for your life, struggle sort of band that we were kind of identifying with. The lyrics spoke to you, the music spoke to you, the aggressive, the attitude in the voice of John Joseph's voice. It just had that. It had that street level pain, I guess, if you want to call it something. But then there was another band that came out, their first debut album here, and it was metal crossover. That's how we saw it. And it was astonishing. The musicianship was so brilliant, and the songs were captivating, and they were a lot of fun and aggressive. And you play the album. I played this album start to finish. This is why I picked it overall. But making their debut on the streets of Kensington, Philadelphia in 1986. This one is for Carla. If you're out there, Carla, I want to put this one out to you because I know you love your hardcore. I hope you're here. This one's for you if you're there. This is Crumb Suckers off of Life of Dreams, the video promo for Trapped. Now that band, to me, That was fucking dirt on your face, sweat on your back, and blood under your fingernail, street level crossover hardcore metal. To me, 1986, in my opinion, was the birth of crossover metal, in my opinion. So I think if you haven't heard that whole album, Life of Dreams, I highly recommend it. And Age of Quarrel as well. I mean, it was a coin toss, but I had to go with Life of Dreams on this one, ladies and gentlemen, because it's the one out of the I played the most. And, you know, my brother also as well. This is the year my brother got his first drum set, was in the summer of 1986, because he graduated high school. And he got his first drum kit. And Life of Dreams and Age of Quarrel were two albums that he played over and over. And he used to play DRI's Dealing With It on drums. And he used to do Metal Church. And he did Exodus Bonded by Blood. He used to do start to finish on that. And this next band is a band that he used to play heavily to, which was probably one of death thrash metal influences for drummers. He was known for his great double bass kicks. Like some people kind of considered him second to David Lombardo at the time period, as I can remember. A lot of people equated this drummer from this band he was kind of the next sort of Dave Lombardo. But I think Tony Scaglione was from Whiplash as well, as you heard his skills as well on that record. And this next band is out of California, and this is their sophomore album. And this, to me, is probably on most people's, I would say, within the top 20 list of influential thrash albums from the 80s. And it is a brutal, really dark and grimacing, growling, underground raw record. It's just pure, just speed, death, thrash metal power. It's absolutely aggressive. The sound is just, it shakes your bones. We love this album immediately, and it kicks off just a great intro to the build-up, and has a long, brilliant song. And it's funny, it's only 7 songs on this record. And it's so hard to pick one song off of this record from this band that is very, I think, loved by most people. But I picked a song that, truthfully, many years ago, Bloodstorm was approached to do a song that was supposedly going to be a tribute album to this band. And I picked this song because most people overlook it. And I love it because it just reminds me of Lucio Fulci's zombie movies. It reminds me of Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead. Okay. And this is off of Death, Dark Angels, Darkness Descends. This is Hunger of the Undead.
One drop, solid
Yes. I hope you enjoy that song just as much as I do. And if not, that whole album. I mean, how can you not love that Darkness Descends album? Is it not everything you would want out of an 80s death thrash band? I mean, that was to me, that was another form of death thrash, which was a term that was used more often than just either death metal or thrash metal for a band like Dark Angel in my history. So, Hunger of the Undead. Okay, moving right along. We're going to stay in America. One more band, one more time before we move to another country here. And we're going to stay in California. And this band is on their sophomore album. And I remember hearing this album. Me and my friends were very excited and could not wait to get our hands on the second album of this next band. We were just, the palms were itching and you were just sweating your eyebrow to get it. You couldn't wait to get it. And this, along with Dark Angel, this next band was an album that my brother used to play drums to start to finish. And I think when I heard the record, I was pleasantly surprised. I remember reading a lot of reviews about this record. And there was those that criticized it for not being like Seven Churches. But then again, these same people didn't like Seven Churches. See, but then there was others that thought the maturity level of this band brought them to a whole new level, a more supernatural and, just a little bit more of sort of beyond sort of a horror tale than just being a satanic band with blood and fire, which there's nothing the matter with that. But coming to light for their second album, this album I thought is really great. I can't really compare it to the first record, except the fact that I think it's just as great every song, but it's a different level of what their influences are, if that makes sense. So, off of Possessed, Beyond the Gates. I picked this next track, and this is my favorite one. It was on side B. No Will to Live.
Let's take us on the earth as the night makes it settle. No more breath. Will to live. Set me free from this pain and misery. There's a past. No tomorrow here. Expressions in us. And a time of fear. Death in the air, and thunder in the skies. Children in despair, why is they dying? Well, to live, set me free from this pain and all around. You know I hear the
Well, there you go. I think that song for me summed up the whole album. It was my favorite song off the record. Of course, it can't stand up to Seven Churches, but I just think for what Possessed kind of were at their age doing Seven Churches and what they've done the next year, I think they had to probably in their minds take what they were trying to do to a different level than just being, a one trick pony of a satanic band, which I think was better anyway. But maybe in those times in that year, that was probably maybe in their minds thinking it was probably their best interest to make that move. I just wish they could have kept that level of aggression and made a third album instead of an EP and then fall to the wayside and disappear. But that is the only lineup of Possessed I will ever acknowledge, and that's the truth. Now, we are going to move to the north, our cold Canadian neighbors. And my next pick here, I didn't get to have them on for 85, but nevertheless, I'm going to play them here tonight because their second album was just as fucking awesome as the first. And if Michael, if you are there, I want to put this one out to you, my friend, if you're there. So I'm just going to let it play and speak for itself. And it should actually, hopefully, have your attention as much as it did mine when I heard it. Okay, so out of Canada, this is Pile Driver off of Stay Ugly, the Incubus. Yes, the Incubus. I love Pile Driver, man. I love them. Great thrash metal band. Just, it's wonderful. Just pure, simple thrash, crazy aggression. I love it. So there you go. And now staying in Canada, this next pick, I remember reading about them. Like most bands, you read about them in that time period, then you usually see their albums first. But I remember being with my friend Rich Tickner from high school. He's the one that actually bought this album first, but we read about it in a magazine and check it out. But it was supposed to be, well, it wasn't supposed to be, it was a bet or a project band between, I guess, members of Virgin Seal and some other band. I'm not sure if it was another band or people in their camp. So they made an album that, was basically a bet to see if they could do it, from what I remember about it. But when I heard the record, I'm like, if this was just a fluke bet, this is brilliant, because this album to me, when I heard it, I'm like, it was a project album. This to me, I think, was my first introduction to the quote unquote project album. Okay. In underground metal. Love the cover alone, because it was just excellent. It was everything I could love about, because it was zombies, so you can love it. But start to finish, I loved it. I love all the little intros and outros on the album. This is another one of those albums I would play it start to finish. I didn't stop it. I didn't cut in between. But if I have to pick a song off this record, which is hard, but I picked the one that I think speaks for itself, and it's a very good encompassing of the sound and style of the album. And so, well, the album, the one and only album that existed, this is The Exorcist off of Nightmare Theater. This is Execution of the Witches.
Kill them! Kill them! Burn them! Order! Order in the court! Order in the court! Order in the court! Order in the court! Giles Corey, Sarah Osborne, Nathaniel Hawks, Abigail Hobbs, William Barker, and Elizabeth Proctor. You have been found guilty of practicing sorcery, foul witchcraft, and murder by bewitchment. For these crimes, you are sentenced to be burned at the stake, alive, without the benefit of strangulation.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the Exorcist Nightmare Theater. The Project album, right? The one-hit wonder album of thrash metal. But it really did set an influence in heavy metal underground. It was amazing what a challenge can do to still be influenced, to influence people still to this day in bands that are still going on. I mean, that's a wonderful treasure to have. Love that album, Monumental Mark for 1986. I had to include it on the list. I thought it was a very important album, and it was more in close homage to my high school friend Rich, because the both of us really enjoyed that album a lot when we hung out. We used to play it all the time in heavy rotation. Another album we used to play in heavy rotation when I stayed at his house was King Diamond's Fatal Portrait, and I wanted to put that on this list, but unfortunately for me, having to pick 15, I had to once again keep putting it down and what's going to stick, and what is going to stay. And I have to be true to myself. What is really the top of what's going to stay. And it is so hard because I do love Fatal Portrait. Because there's just so many albums that I want to be able to put and I just can't. That's the life of the challenge, right? So next, my last pick out of Canada, and this will disappoint some, but it is just brilliant glory to those of us that love our post-apocalyptic mechanical executioners of a new Armageddon disgust of humanity coming out in vampiric mechanical form of annihilation, with another beautiful concept album that just rose the depths of this bestial sort of darkened post-apocalyptic chaotic energy out of this weird vampiric membrane out into the universe. I just love the words, feel so rich when I listen to this band and I hear the songs, read the lyrics, and listen to the music, because it just encompasses their whole planet. And it is their planet that I love so much, and I would love to visit their planet one day. And this one is going to be going out to JD, who I know loves this band as much as I do. And this is their sophomore album, and very hard to pick just one song off of this record. One of my top 10 influences of all time in heavy metal writing music across the board to this day, off of their sophomore album. I mean, just the title and cover, I was sold, just like I was sold on their debut record. So this, out of Canada, Voivod's Roar, Thrashing Rage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy Voivod's Roar album in 1986. And being their second effort, I thought it was a great continuation after War of Pain in my ears, because that record, I always considered Voivod its own world. They were their own planet, their own atmosphere, their own landscapes, their own seas, their own blood, their own DNA. It was a whole new realm that was solely on its own. And lyrically, visually, the sound, the energy, everything about them to me was genius. That's how I viewed Voivod. Voivod to me was genius. The way that they made their albums and how they progressed, and the tempo and the concept of each album. It stepped up their game over and over. I think at least all the way up till Nothing Face. They kept that momentum going, I thought. So I thought Roar was definitely it was a more aggressive than War and Pain, and it had a lot. I think it had a lot more of its punk in the riffing and playing, but it was very, very. The whole album is very, very aggressive. One thing I'll say about Voivod before I move on to the next band here, I find them to be genius because of maybe just in this one small vessel I'm going to put it in. My daughter Eva loves the band, and I don't enforce my music on my daughters at all. I don't do any of that. I don't believe in doing that. You know, kids got to be kids on their own. They got to grow their own way and find their own way. They need that adventure in life. The fucking internet does everything for them. No, they need the adventure in their life to discover things out of sight and sound and touch and everything else, like most of us all did, right? So when she heard Voivod, she always associated it with other planets. That's just how my daughter viewed it. They were robots from another planet. They were a whole different being. And coming out of an 8-year-old's mind for that said to me, it's a genius, because genius is supposed to be when somebody or something can influence a generation to think differently or to think about it. I don't know if the definition is right, but it's something to that effect. It changes your thinking. So it's considered genius. I consider Voivod genius. So I praise Voivod and I praise Roar for 1986. Okay, now, 86 had quite a few compilation albums. So my next pick, I just want to show this. This was one of my favorite comp albums that I had. Off of New Renaissance Records, the Speed Metal Hell Volume 2. And that's the list of bands that were on there. If you can see them, okay, the back, okay. All these bands were great. And this is when I heard all these bands for the first time. But there is one band on here that definitely influenced me through Goraphobia all the way up to the present day, to this day. I find them in the top for me as being an influence, because to me, I was wanting a band that sounded a bit more of the Hellhammer sound. Okay. The success, the predecessor to Celtic Frost. I wanted to hear something that was like that. So off this comp album, I finally heard a band that answered my call, and I can't say enough about them except that they're just raw. It's raw, brutal energy. And the simplicity of it's brilliant, but the sound and the voice that comes out of this band, it's phenomenal. So off of this comp album, okay, one of my favorite bands still to this day, coming out of Denmark, is Samhain, and this is Plague of Messiah. Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Samhain, which turned into Des Exalt, the Kreator demo. It definitely is one of my top influences. Love those 3 songs to death. Never, ever get tired of them. But in 86, when I heard that on the comp, that was my answer for me to what I think Hellhammer should maybe have become, or something that in that style. I was always wishing there was a full-length album of that instead of just 3 songs that I've ever heard, you know. And I also want to put a great acknowledgement to At War, because they bought out Ordered to Kill that year as well. And that put them on the map. I'm sorry I didn't put them on the show tonight, but, you know, it was either them or Whiplash for me. And Whiplash just has the edge for me, unfortunately. But I love At War. That Order to Kill album is awesome. So I just want to give a shout out to At War. They were on that record, and Aggression. So many great bands on these comps. New Renaissance was starting to be the new platform to raise the bar in underground music for bands that were not signed yet. That's how me and my friends saw it. So now we were looking at New Renaissance, who was going to come up from this label now, you know, hearing these comps. It was great. So it added a level of excitement. So now we're going to go into Germany, one of my favorite places for 1980s, just thrash metal, heavy metal, death metal, extreme, extraordinaire, the brilliance of it. I mean, they're the classic bands that have come out of Germany. There's so many of them. And there's a few new ones that popped out this year. And I just want to give a shout out to all those bands back then. I wish I could do a 2-part show just like 85, but I cannot. So my first pick, they were new on the scene this year for me. And when I first saw the album, I was like, they looked like they were fun, so they reminded me of Mad Magazine, but like a horror concept of Mad Magazine or Crack Magazine. You remember those back in the 80s? When I saw the album cover, I was like, what this has got to be weird and wild. I got to hear it. When I heard it, this is an album I play it start to finish. When I want to hear this record, I want to hear this record all the way. I mean, this is just level red, just speed death thrash, you know? I mean, it's just aggressive. It's wild. I loved it. Great energy off this record. And so this is an album, a band also that actually did influence one of the kids on my bus to be into underground metal. This band was an introduction to her hearing underground heavy metal. True story. But I had to pick this band because there's no denying their power and aggression. I hope you can enjoy this as much as I did when I first heard it. And every time I play this record, it's always like hearing it for the first time. So for the first time in 1986, out of Germany, this is Tankard, Zombie Attack.
Oh, what a boring video. What's that noise coming from the door?
Yeah, German thrash madness in '86. New one to the scene. That was a wild album, and I tend to agree with some people say is they kind of never they did that. It just never hit that level again from Chemical Invasion up. So I guess that was a one-hit wonder album. But anyway, great album. Great. If you haven't heard the whole album, I do suggest it start to finish. It is a great speed thrash album for 1986. German metal. I mean, the accent, everything. It's got all the nasty, gnarly, wild aggression you could ever want out of 1986 thrash speed metal. You know, that's what you would want. So staying in Germany again, I have to pay homage to part of my family's home country and home to some of the greatest thrash metal, heavy metal, death metal bands to ever emerge. So this next band out of Germany. This is their second album, and I believe this was their last album because I haven't heard nothing else after this. And if they did, it's not brought to my attention, so it must not. And part of it is due to the fact that, from what I understand, most of the members have passed away, sadly enough. But again, they were on my '85 playlist. This is their second album, and obviously, they're a huge influence for me. And Bloodstorm, I can't escape the just the gripping influence that it has, the power and might that it grabs me to the core of my being. I love this band so much. So, off of their second album, this is Iron Angel, Creatures of Destruction.
Observe the slap and the evil knife, the decay. his hand, that was his spear. The white fire burns urban hills. Satan is all of hell and won't take a word with smell. Puppets of walls and then down they are called. Fight, they are chosen to die. They are chosen to die. Servants of evil, monsters of hell. Destroy the hour with violence and spell. And nights of illusion, they stand on the hills. Regardless of distraction, I require the kill.
So there you go, Iron Angel off of Winds of War, Creatures of Destruction. I just love that band. They are brilliant. Just like I said, it's just speed level, the aggression, speed, thrashy violence with Dirk's shrieking vocals and the German accent over top of it. It's just brilliant. It's excellent to me. My ears are just overjoyed hearing bands and music like that. And hearing these in 1986, as I say all the time, it just makes you want more. So I love that band. If there was albums done after Winds of War, I just never heard them. I don't know if they were just not distributed over here, poor sales, or they never saw the light of day until umpteen years later or decades later. I don't know. I only know the first two, and that's all I needed because it set a standard for me. So that was my homage to Iron Angel. I hope you enjoy that one. Staying in Germany. Okay. Now, this next band, this is their third, this would be their third release. And I guess in a sense, it would be their second full-length album. And at this level in this year for 86, for a lot of the hardcore crossover that's coming into play, Slayer's top-of-the-line Game, Metallica, Megadeth, and heavy metal bands like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden with Somewhere in Time, they're kind of taking off more and more. I think out of Germany, or probably in Europe, in Europe as a continent the most, I think this next band is just probably one or a half step over some of the others at this year, at this focal point of 86 with this album. Because again, I think this album created a whole new standard in thrash metal with its complexity, complexity of the riffs, excuse me. Just the way that they're executed and the songs are put together. They may be lengthy, but they really hold your interest. The voice is you can't mistake in the voice of the vocalist. There's just no way you can mistake in his voice. It was, again, it was a band that set a standard by 1986. And I think it was probably one of the most important albums, especially not just in Europe alone for thrash metal and underground music at the time period, but in thrash metal sense in the world and hitting the States. I seen it just in my neck of the woods, changing some people that were looking for things that were a bit more here or a bit more there, that were more thought out. Well, this band did that, and it didn't lose its heaviness. So I just got to get, it's hard to pick one song off of these records, but I did. It's my favorite song off the record. If I have to pick one, this is it. So off of Eternal Devastation, this is Destruction, Life Without Sense.
know why you're existing. You, our neighbors, why isn't you and not me? Your parents are shocked until they love you. You were their flesh and blood, what else could they do? Modern medicine can help you. Tortured body, hospital is your world. Doctors your friends to keep you trapped for life. They will never treat you a normal human being. They often think you shouldn't be a part of their society. They smile at you and deep inside they think you shouldn't be here, because they never ever realize your heart and feelings too.
All right. Destruction, Life Without Sense. That whole album, there isn't a bad song on it. And as I said, I think Destruction, that album, Eternal Devastation, really did create a whole new standard in thrash metal history. It really did. Which there are a lot of great albums and bands that have done that in '86 too. But I just think they had a new sort of benchmark of technical brilliance with some simple heavy riffs that flowed well, and Schmear's voice over top of any of those songs Destruction played back then. They just amplified power more. There was, I said it before, in '85, there must be something in the air of Germany in the 1980s that made them. Maybe it's the Chernobyl explosion. Maybe it drifted over and got into Eastern Europe and then got into like Austria and Germany and kind of like affected them a bit, made them sound that way more so. But now they were all sounding that way anyway. So anyway, so that's Destruction. They're, Eternal Devastation, landmark album. Next band, of course, is another one that is, I would say probably today, this band seems to be on the radar, more influential with the records today than Destruction is today. Not these albums at this time period, but I'm talking when they all came back into everybody's eyes and ears, when all these fests happened and everybody started getting their bands back together. And when this band hit the scene in Milwaukee Metal Fest for the first time, they were in '98, and hearing it for the first time, it was definitely an event. It was definitely a big event. So staying in Germany, and now this was their official full-length album, because in '85 they put out their EP, which was absolutely brilliant. And I kind of mark them as the beginning of what today has turned into war metal. I believe this band out of Germany is the one that started the war metal thing, from my ears and my view, started it, because when you look back at it, they amplified that and their influences of Venom and Motörhead alone. And it came out very brilliant. And they all had a little bit of a punk edge to it, a bit, because that was really, still prevalent. And it was still, an influential factor in the '80s, in the mid '80s still, So, this next band off their first full-length album, and another interesting story about them is I did not notice until I was on tour with Absu in '95, and this is the truth. Even Ray, Russ, and Mike and Absu, we didn't know this, but apparently Mika and Rest of Impaled Nazarene had the original copy of this album in the original format. And here in America, we had a re-recording from that album. Like they did a original studio album. And then I think the story goes, when the album was shipped from Germany to America, this is what I hear on how true it is. Maybe some people can, pinpoint the facts, but apparently the person in charge of the reel-to-reel tapes for this album I'm going to play next fucking lost it riding the train, left the fucking original album on the train, fell asleep and lost it. And they had to go back and re-record their whole album with a different production. And, growing up hearing the production, I liked the production. I heard better the American version. And for Mika and everybody that we met over in Europe for the first time said their version was the best. And I understand that. It's just the social demographic of growing up in that environment and what you heard at the time that made your fucking loins tick, So this is Sodom off of Obsessed by Cruelty, Death Like Silence. Yes, Sodom, a full-length war metal album. Yeah, they do. You know, the bad English on that is so bad. It actually does add so much character to all their songs. I noticed out of all the bands that were German, Sodom's S's or their deaths, the THs, they were always snake hisses, you know? So it even added more character and luster to the song. It added more, you know, just very guttural evilness to the snarly lyrics, you know, and the Motörheadish influence, you know, done in such a volcanic manner, that whole album. So that was Sodom's Obsessed by Cruelty. Staying in Germany, ladies and gentlemen, Tyrants Aboard. All right. So this next band, also huge influence. That's just the word to say. And this band always said back in those days how influenced they were by Slayer, 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 Slayer. And you could definitely hear that. But they had their German edge to it. And, you know, they had a lot of character in their songs, really aggressive and fast, I thought, you know, because they really went for that Slayer speed. And they executed it well on their own right. And they put out a brilliant debut album. And this is their, you know, they put out their second full-length album this year, but they also put out an EP. And that EP was just as awesome. And I always wished, like my friends back in the day, why didn't they make that a full record, man? We could have had 2 records from this awesome German death thrash band in the same year. I mean, it probably would have stepped their game up a little bit more, probably than Destruction, I guess, if you look at it that way. Well, the way that I did, me and my friends looked at this band. But there was something that I had to pick tonight and put on here to share with you all. And I'm sure most of you, and if there's my foreign tyrants out there watching, probably got to see this on, you know, on their television sets back in the day. But I had a video copy of a TV performance from this band. And I didn't have the greatest copy back in the day, but I had it with my Razor videos and my, you know, my Ultimate Revenge 1, a DRI show, a lot of things like that on videotape. Well, this band, getting to see them and not just hear them, but getting to see them like on TV playing, it was, me and my friends, especially my friend Paul also loved this band. We couldn't take our eyes off the TV set when this came on. We had to watch. It was, I picked the TV footage for this band because I just think the video live performance And I think this is at their absolute prime. I don't think this band got any better after this year, in my opinion. So this is Kreator's TV live performance in Germany in '86. This is Flag of Hate.
I like the flag of hate.
All right. And of course, Pleasure to Kill came out that year. But when I was doing this, I really had to sit back and say the video footage, it just, that was pure fire. That was pure thunder and fire. And watching a video footage of them, the Kreator, they were huge for me and my friends. We loved them. So seeing it had so much more of a dynamic effect on me. I had to pick live footage off the TV. I think the footage should speak for itself, you know? So I went with Kreator doing Flag of Hate on live German TV in '86. I think that was the absolute pinnacle of their career. And in my opinion, I don't think they ever stayed at that level or topped it. I think they started, in my opinion, The way I saw it, they started to go down. They started to lose their luster. I think so. But that's me. To each their own, right, ladies and gentlemen? That's what makes us us. And I just want to give two honorable shout-out mentioned bands from Germany that I also loved from, this year. I only got one more pick. But I want to give a shout-out for Assassin's upcoming Terror album, which I love. And I would have played Nemesis off of that album. And also Death Row, Satan's Gift. I'd have played Satan's Gift. That was a great album as well. It's so hard to only pick 15, but that's part of the challenge and the fun of doing this, and it creates a little bit level of excitement. So thank you all for being here with me tonight in this, and I appreciate the journey. I wanted to get through these songs and just enjoy them for what they are, and I think the songs themselves express the tone of what 1986 was, because I know what it was for me. At my home in Kensington, around my friends and family and new friends that I got to meet in all these other playgrounds that I mentioned early on, and actually started creating some enemies as well. And the music kind of helped me sail through in and out, the good and bad of the environment, which was positive and also toxic at the same time. But it was an adventurous aggression of being a teenager in 1986 in the Kensington area of Philadelphia. There was just more tensions starting to rise from this area called 2nd Street, which was probably about 20 blocks away from my house, starting to come down. We started to hear for the first time Jamaican and Hispanic drug gangs. We were like, what's all that, So it was weird. It was kind of knocking on your doorstep, letting you know that trouble's making its way down the line eventually. So there was a lot of things changing. The music was changing. Things were getting progressively better, and there was more branches coming out. The influences were getting more rich and vibrant and more energetic, and inspired me so much more to step out of the troubled streets and into a creative realm of writing music and going to art school and thinking of what instrument do I want to learn? How do I want to write lyrics? What's the topics, the songs, the album? The adventure and the fantasy of it, the thrill and the undiscovered sciences of the occult mysticism. There's so much more to it. It was just such a rich treasure map that I just had to follow where X marks the spot, and eventually I found it. So I just want to say thank you all so much for journeying 1986 with me tonight, and I hope you were able to enjoy the picks. And this is the last pick, and once again, they're in every year for me, because there's just no denying their influence, the influential impact on my, not just on music, but in my life experience. This band, I always considered my honorable friend that I never really had, but I felt as the empowerment of a musical friendship, if you will, to express the deeper thoughts and really get through my day, really well. This band summed it all for me consistently, year after year. I think when some bands were peaking and dropping, chapters changed for them. But in my opinion, they just progressed through the years, and they never missed a step with me, because the man in charge never let nobody fuck with him or his writing or his albums. And that is a fucking standard we got to keep today. You can't let the wrong people involved in music influence what you're going to do and how you're going to think or how you're going to support, and you shouldn't be limited to how you're going to express it. And from my experience, this band never let anybody shit in his fucking lawn and get away with it. What this man would do, he would tread on your fucking throat and still write music to piss you and everybody else off. So, 1986. Okay, under the new lineup with Pete Gill on drums, Phil Campbell on guitar, Wurzel on guitar, and Lemmy Ian Kilmister on bass. This is Orgasmatron.
arrogant, clandestine and vain. 2,000 years of misery, of torture in my name. Hypocrisy made paramount, paranoia the law. My name is called religion, sadistic, sacred war. I twist the truth, I rule the world. My crown is called deceit. I am the emperor of lies. You grovel at my feet. I rob you and I slaughter you. Your downfall is my gain. And still you play the psychopath and revel in your pain. And all my promises are lies. All my love is hate. I am the politician, and I decide your fate. I march before a modern world, an army for the fight. I speak of great heroic days, of victory and might. I hold a banner drenched in blood. I urge you to be brave. I lead you to your destiny. I lead you to your grave. Your bones will build my palaces. Your eyes will stud my crown. For I am Mars, the god of war, and I will cut you down.
All right, hey, here we are. I'm back. That was
Hello,
2
boss.
hours. 2 hours and 19 minutes of ass kicking metal from 1986. So, I mean, I could tell by the chat, everybody enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Cool.
You know, I couldn't just, I got to be honest here. I couldn't just sit here for 2 hours and 19 minutes clicking buttons just for anybody. If somebody comes up here with like a boring, shitty ass playlist. No, I'm not gonna do it. You figure it out yourself. So I always enjoy the Chris playlist. Makes it easier for me to sit back here and just click buttons and get everything prepared and all that goes into it. Because Chris and I actually do. I say it all the time. We actually put a lot of time into putting these together. So, if you guys only knew, yeah.
Papers, over and over and over. I'm always flipping something on the boss at the last minute, but he understands my madness. Thank you.
No, I get it completely, and that's fine. I figured it out. I know how he works. I know how his mind works, sort of now. So I always just wait literally till the last day to put everything back together, or put everything together for the show.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to say is, first of all, thanks to Chris for once again doing it, putting on a fucking badass show. It's good. It's good for the channel. Good to change things up. I say it all the time. This channel is not about me. I know I created the channel, but it's not about me. It's about everybody and anybody that is involved, whether it be Chris doing a playlist or people in the chat. That's what it's all about. It's not about me or anything like that. So that's why I always invite people to come on and do their own thing. So, lot of compliments and all that. I was kind of putting them all up on the screen, but I really want to thank everybody again for that, and thank those of you that gave Chris a shout out in color, like Mike V. I don't know if you're still around. Noelia.
Thank you
JD,
all.
Bloodstone with the funniest Fraser post. Teddy Tommy, Nick Hickok, Sherry. So appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you all too, man. I mean, it's what makes this stuff really fun is your involvement, and if you to discuss and critique this music we love. I mean, It's everything to me. It's more valuable than money. And I do mean that wholeheartedly, because this is definitely my life's ambition and love, and I'm passionate about it. So I always enjoy talking and sharing with you people. And it is a challenge to just pick 15, man. It's not easy.
Yeah, no, it's not easy. And, when we first started doing this, he's like, only 15? I was like, yeah, you gotta get challenged. You got to get challenged. I
got makeup in my eye still.
I mean, and another thing, so people brought it up. Hey, I'm Chris's episode. Well, I could do 3 or 4 parts to this year alone. So what I ask is, if you're watching this, share these videos around. If we can get all of Chris's episodes to a minimum of 1,000 views, and I think a majority of them are already there, we can come back and do 1980 part 2, 1981 part 2, or whatever Chris wants to do. If 1990 is a good year for him or whatever. So we'll keep doing them, but let's get these. I think a lot of people will really enjoy his presentation, his enthusiasm to do this. So let's get those. Let's get those views up on Chris's episodes, and we definitely will continue to fucking do these. But I just want more people to check them out. Because they're entertaining. So
thanks. I'm glad you think so.
Also, thank you, T-Bone. There's another one. So what we're gonna do is, if Chris wants, I know I didn't ask you, but I went ahead and set it up. So here we're gonna leave from this stream, and if you look on the JOABA channel, there's one that says After Show 1986 After Show or whatever. We're gonna move over to that stream. That way, I don't want to put too much at the end of this show. I want to keep these just playlist related, and not like add another hour at the end of it with nothing. So if you guys want to join us there, please do so. It's gonna be cool. You can ask questions. We can talk about 1986. We did this for 85, and it was kind of fun going back and talking, looking back at 1985 and what was going on in the world and all that, and music. 1980. I mean, I have to agree. 1986 was a tremendous year for underground music, right? For heavy metal, hardcore, punk.
It really set a standard for a lot of the other bands.
Yeah. So
it created a whole new standard, I thought.
Yep. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that could have been played, but 15 is 15.
I'm sorry.
That's that.
Here's the rest of the list.
So,
I can pick out all
there you
this,
go.
too.
Well, we could talk about the honorable mentions in the next stream as well too. So that way,
You guys did talk about some of them.
I can't believe you didn't play that one. Well, maybe
I
maybe it
know.
was on
I'm
the
like,
list.
look, man. If like I tell people, I'm like, if you let me, I can easily do, 30 songs or something. That's
Right, of course.
easy. But when it's 15, it's
But-
very hard. And I try to pick according to really what was going on in my head, my neighborhood, my friends, just the social environment of that year. And I
Well,
picked the
thing
ones that
is-
stick. That's just how I have to do it.
And another a big reason of why I try to keep it to 12 to 15 is because your your stories about each song is a major part of the show, and I don't want to have like 30 songs and then we'll be here 5 hours later. I mean, you're gonna get wore out just talking for 5 fucking hours. You know what I mean? So it makes any sense. I want to try to keep that same energy from the get go. You know what I mean?
I understand.
So
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, Chris, you got anything you want to say before we go out and head to the next stream? And I'll send you the link here in a minute to jump on that one.
I guess in closing, making it this far from 80 to 86 now, if there's anybody out there that like Francisco said, didn't get to see, like, if you like this in 85, check out 1980. It's obviously, 6 years ago. So most of these bands didn't even exist.
Right.
But, you got to remember, I was 9 years old in 1982. So I did a lot of like what my mother and father kind of was around the house growing up to what it is now as a teenager out in the streets, discovering music for my own. So I guess I'm saying, if you like what you hear in here, I'd be honored if you checked all the rest of the years. It would be an honor. And, I'd be grateful for the support and help. You're supporting the channel. You're making it better for the channel and for everybody else involved. And I really believe that a platform like this helps most of us that, we're miles apart, states apart. And we can't afford to spend, $5,000 to go to a fest, take this airplane and that bus and this train, stay here, this food, it's just, it's way too much money. I'm a single father. So this is a great opportunity for me to see and hear from a lot of people I haven't seen in decades and I haven't talked to in a long time. And I just always keep in mind, I think, like I say, I'm like the rest of you. I'm a voice in the choir of our heavy metal world. I'm with all of you. I don't see it as any better or any less. I think of us all in the same absolute world of this music, and we all funnel through and vessel each other from place to place through the journey of music, because I always think there's always things to discuss and learn from each other all the time. I mean, it's wrong to say somebody's taste is wrong, and I don't think that's
right.
A very good encompassing thing to do. But I find it more rich to explore and critique what we love, because I think it makes us love it more. So please, if you have a chance, I'd be honored if you checked out from 80 all the way up to 85, because you're watching tonight 86. So thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate you. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Leave some comments after the stream is over on all that, and we will see
Please.
you at the other stream. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out. We'll finish up in the other stream here shortly. So
I'll get the makeup out of my eyes.
Yeah, we are out of here. Later.